from a rather blustery bridge in moorings at Acle, it's time to do the boat review of Bronze Gem 2, a forward steer or bathtub cruiser that I've hired from Richardson's Boating Holidays based in Stalham. So we'll get the outside views first of all done. Obviously it's all the same, these kind of cruisers, whether you're looking at Bronze Gem, Amber Gem, Clear Gem, San Celino, all of these types of boats, they're all much the same. 12 foot wide, 37 foot long and about 6'9" in your air draft. You've got this lovely deep forward well, which is great for people to be outside but be safe. Kids can be sat there, they're in sight of the helm and also kept safe because of its depth. And coming along to the back of the boat, or the stern, you see here just an example where we've got Fair Chancellor slightly higher, those side decks, compared to here, so wide, safe, low side decks to walk along, get off. It's all non-slip paint they've put on here, it goes. So let's get out of the wind and get inside, but I just want to draw your attention that here is a large area where you can just bung stuff in. If you're a fisherman and you've got stuff, just bung it in. Beer, fishing gear, your suitcase, whatever it is, it stays dry. It's not the most nice of places, I know, but nonetheless it's a good place. So you access the boat here, you've got a nice window here through this door which opens outwards, rather narrow, and come down into the first of two double cabins. I'd like to point out that I'm filming this on a different camera. It hasn't got quite the same wide angle lens as some of them, so things might seem a little narrow, but they are what they are. So here we have the double berth, which may appear quite narrow, but as you can see from the pillows, that's always a good test. If you're on a boat and you see pillows that are like this, it's not a proper double berth. But if they're able to be put side by side in my books, that's a proper double berth. Not the same as you might have at home. And remember, you've got to kind of get in here and round, so perhaps not the most easy to get into, but nonetheless very bright and airy in here. Also got one or two wardrobes in which we have the ubiquitous broom, bucket, dustpan and brush, and life jacket storage where we're leaving those. And one of the ideas of the past was to put a basin in the back cabin of boats. And you think, well, what's the point of this? But when you get up, maybe, you know, your friends sharing the accommodation, it's nice, you can wash, brush your teeth, have a shave, for example. You don't have to use the bathroom. It's all good. You've got some nice storage here. You know, you've got your drawers. Again, down here. So it's all basic, but it's very functional. Very comfortable, very soft mattress here. Small little things like having a canvas art print on the wall. What's behind this door? It's one of two toilets. Just a toilet on its own. So this could be called the ensuite. Which I think is great. You know, it's not shared with a shower tray. And you've got your wash basin here. So really this is a self-contained, apart from having a shower, cabin at the back of the boat. It's probably about 6 foot room in here. I'm not nothing like that at all. But you do get the full width of the boat, and that's what a lot of people like about these boats. They're very square. Notice also Richardson's are putting smoke and CO alarms in their boats. This is one of 3 of those. And then we come out of here into the long galley. So as you come into the galley here, it is very long, it's rather narrow, but I rather like this because, and apologies for the squeaking and creaking floor, this is quite an old boat, but look at the cleanliness. Now I know when I do these reviews, I do, you know, put everything away and clean the boat back, ready to take back to the boatyard. This is how I leave the boats when I take them back. But this is how I found it. And I must say that with Richardson's, cleanliness and, you know, keeping things in order is always absolutely first class. In fact, if you look here at this old, you know, hob, the net, they've replaced the things, but look, this is when stuff used to be made properly, and, you know, nice enamel finish. There's some pitting here on the little rings, but you know what? It works perfectly. All of the jets work. You've got a really nice big large kettle here, so if you've got your full complement of crew, you can fill this up. Some people complain about those little kettles, you know, you have to do coffees and teas in shifts and so on, but you've got your separate grill. Look at the cleanliness here, and an oven, you know, the standard affair. It's gas, it's nothing fancy, but it really works. Now, the reason why this is here, and you think, well, it's odd because that's the double cabin we've just come out of. On others, you'll have it located here, and that's because the engine is under here. So on some of the boats, the cabins are slightly reconfigured, that engine box is back a bit, but on here, this is how it is. So you're here, you've got lighting up here, they're quite the old strip lighting. On some of the boats, San Salino for example, you have the square Osram lamps up here, far superior to these. But, you know, they are what they are. They work. It's a cheap boat. You're not going to have all sort of inset LED bright lights and so on. But you are, nonetheless, away from the accommodation here. Some people like that, to keep all the cooking smells and everything separate. Other people find, oh, it's a bit claustrophobic. But it's nice when you're going along and you can look out the windows. There's loads of light that comes into this boat. We've got a really nice sink. And obviously under here, we've got all of our utensils, cutlery. I'm afraid, negative on the part of Richardson's, no frying pan. But what they did give was a decent can opener. That's always good. Another thing with Richardson's, you don't get stemmed wine glasses. You know when I say in reviews, and stemmed wine glasses? No, you know, you just get the tumblers. Having a red wine in this, not quite the same as if it's got a stem on it. You've got a nice, you know, usual Waco boat 12 volt fridge. It works, it keeps things cold, not the biggest. Little ice compartment, keeps some sort of frozen veg in there or makes some ice cubes and so on. So really, you know, you can't complain again. Breadboard, bread basket for getting me tongue-tied. A bread basket, a cutting board that's made of glass, so that's nice and hygienic. Then you have this big area here, which you could put stuff on, but I would warn you, in all of these boats, this does get quite warm from the engine, which is underneath. And in this particular one, Bronze Gems 2, you've got a relatively new Narni engine. I say relatively new, it looks absolutely pristine, doesn't it? But it's done over 3,000 hours already, but never misses a beat. Very refined, quiet and rather powerful actually. Up here we've got another CO alarm and detector, and a very well placed place to put your towels maybe, or your dishcloths, etc., because they really do dry, because the heat rises up from the engine and it dries it up there. So that is the galley. Light, lots of workspace, lots of cupboards, all nicely done. Relatively new fit out this. And we have another door. And this is our second double cabin. So this is where Sheila and I have been sleeping. So as you can see, this is a bit bigger than the other one. The bed's the same size, but the actual sort of space in here, identical to when I had San Salino. And here, your feet go under the deck, but you don't get freeboard foot. There's a good distance here. But again, a second little negative point about this boat is whatever's behind this headlining has fallen down. You see? So obviously when you're in bed and your foot hits that, it's a bit weird, but it's a bit of wood. I can see where it's just, and I have to strip this head lining back and get to that. But if it wasn't like that, it'd be better. But very few negatives for a very cheap boat. this really is, well, it reminded Sheila of a little house. You got the pictures on the wall, you got your nice headboard. Again, absolutely pristine, lovely, clean. And another one of these. So, got to hand it to Richardson. Some boatyards have made a big fuss about this. Richardson's have not said anything. They've just put them in all the boats. You've got some double opening windows, a larger, quite bright strip light in here. You've got a me and a camera and a mirror. Now on some of the boats in this type, you have a wash basin here. On this boat, there isn't. I think that's fine because it means you've got more space. You've got some nice cupboards here. So no actual drawers, just some shelves and a cupboard, as you can see, to put other things, you know, fold your tops and so on in there. And behind here is the engine. So if the engine's running, obviously it's quite noisy in here. One thing I would point out, and I don't know if this is on Richardson's boats, you know, like Commodore, Broadsman, Carousel, etc., but certainly on their classic fleet boats, the pillows are these. And this, unfortunately, is sort of spread across many hire fleets. It's like a plastic cover over the pillow, and it's not very nice to feel. It's not very nice to lay on. Very little support. But it's hygienic and it's simple, so I get why they've done it, but I thought I'd point this out, that this is on Richardson's boats, it's on Herbert Wood's boats, and of higher quality but similar, it's on Barnes Brinkcraft boats. So if you're used to going to hotels and having lovely soft pillows that you get in hotels, when you come on the Broads you might just want to bring one from home, because that's what you're increasingly going to find. I don't know, you know, how many fleets do it. I get why they do it, but I just thought I'd point that out to you. So that is the second double. So you can see it comfortably sleeps 4 people in what I consider to be perfectly reasonable accommodation for a very reasonable price. Bank holiday weekend, this boat, for the hire of the boat only, £318, and that would be £318 if you're having a midweek for 4 nights. I mean, come on, when boats are sort of in excess of £1,000 this kind of days, this is a really good deal. Let's go in here. This is the main heads, shower and toilet. And yes, I did call it heads a toilet as well. But as you walk into here, look at this space. In a boat, you don't expect to find such a large walk-in shower. You've got the shower controls here, shower head, and the curtain that runs around. You come in here, little sink, not got a mirror here, but then you'd have to stoop down to look in it. But you have got a large mirror here, and for anyone that still has old-fashioned razors that aren't battery or rechargeable, like my dad used to, there's some still out there. Yes, you can still plug it in. That's missing on so many boats these days. Another towel rail, another pump action toilet. This one is the small variety, so you might find it more comfortable to use the other toilet on this boat. This is Bronze Gems 2, and some of the boats you have ones with the cup that drops down. This one here is the pump action one. Very reliable. You're not going to have worries about motors going wrong or anything like this. But it's just so much space in here, you know, to move around in, to have a shower. So you really can't complain. I think it's absolutely lovely. So now let's go into the most social part of the boat, which is here, the saloon. But I'll just tell you now, there's another full-length wardrobe here. So let's go through to the saloon. So as we go into the saloon, look at this. It sort of opens out, amazing space, amazing light. You've got your entertainment system, if I can call it that, which is your standard boat JVC radio, but it's a nice one in as much as you can attach your auxiliary input. There is no 240 volt on this boat. You only have the ability to charge stuff through that accessory lighter, Or do what I did and bring a very small, it's only 150 watt inverter. It plugs into there. You would use it in your car, for example. It's only 150 watts. You can't run a hairdryer off it or anything like this, but I wouldn't want to risk the amount of you know, what sort of wiring goes to that accessory socket. So 150 watts, it's great to charge your laptop up. It's great to charge cameras up that may not be able to take you know, a 12 volt feed. They might need and only can be charged up through mains voltage. So I wouldn't get anything else like, oh well, there's this other inverter and it's 500 watts. Don't push your luck. 150 watts, I haven't had any issues with that. Plug it in and it's a great fallback for charging up stuff that otherwise doesn't have the ability to be charged on 12 volts. If it does, far more efficient just to plug in one of those cigarette things, you know, for your car with the USB sockets. Charge your phone up, charge your tablets up. Lots of cameras can be charged with a USB cable these days as well. You get a perfectly reasonable but dinky flat screen TV and a separate DVD player. So you've got it all covered here, as you can see. That, by the way, is an old-fashioned way, when this boat would have been, you know, had the big CRT telly going back in there. That's how that would have been powered, by plugging into a 12 volt little 3-pin socket. So don't think that that's gonna, that probably is not even connected, but if it is, it's going to be 12 volts. But what boatyards used to do back in the day to stop people fiddling around with things is they'd reverse the polarity. So stuff that might work, usually if you try to plug it in there, wouldn't work, because you know, positive would be the wrong way round to negative, and that little thing that they used to do. But obviously, what do we have that would run off those these days? Moving over here, you've got your aerial socket, so you can bring your aerial in, and a Wi-Fi switch, which is brilliant and unique to Richardson's. You just come on the boat, you turn that on, you put your password in, you follow the on-screen instructions, whether it's on your laptop, your tablet or your mobile. It runs off of EE. Here at Acle we've got signal. At Roxham we had signal. At Richardson's in Stalham Boatyard we had signal, but Colchester, not so much signal. Horning, no signal. Ramworth, no signal. So it is dependent on when you can get signal on EE. So really, EE, they need to be increasing their sort of range and antennas, because O2's got better, Vodafone's got better, 3's always been good, but EE's really languishing back with not having very good signal on the Broads. Here's the Helm. It's simple. As I said, it's a nanny engine. You can always tell this on boats by the dashboard, so if you're looking through the website. I thought this came with a BMC. The pictures may be of Bronze Gem 1, which may still have a BMC engine in it, but I thought, okay, it's cheap, I'm going to have a BMC, but get a smooth running nanny engine. Now I'm going to start this up just briefly. Isn't that smooth and quiet? So, very good. And easy. You just turn it off again. There's no pull switch or anything else. Water pump, on, off. Bilge pump, on, off. Horn. Well, you know what that's like. 6'9" air draft. It's a non-hydraulic steering. It's an old cable, you know, when you're a bit more, not, what's the word, not restraint, but resistance than a hydraulic system. The old trusty Morse throttle control here, you know, pull out for neutral and then you're out of gear, press in and you're into gear, nice and smooth. Bit vague sometimes, you know, selecting your revs, but does the job well. Moving around here, that's your very sturdy, nice folding table, a second speaker for the stereo, and an Espasha variable temperature warm air heating. What this means is you can reduce that down. It's a potentiometer, it's not really a thermostat. But what happens is, if it's not really that chilly but you need a bit of heat, you can have a bit of heat, not just full furnace on and get too hot and have to turn it off and turn it back on again. So they're nice to see. Webestro do the similar sort of thing as well, but not often seen on kind of the cheaper end of the hire boats. They usually just have an on or off for the heating. This is the settee. It's really comfortable and it's been recently reupholstered. And as you can see, if you had your full 4 people. This boat only sleeps 4. If you had your full 4 people on board, everybody could comfortably sit at this and watch the telly. You've got those nice pictures there. Again, you've got a sliding sunroof that you can open. And of course, the door into the well. So, really and truly, these are safe, comfortable, warm. They have very little drafts. All of this, the windows close firmly. There's no drafts. It's quite windy outside. You heard when we came in, and there are no drafts. I can't feel any, not even here at all. So for out of season cruising, this is a lovely boat to be on. So as you know, when I do these reviews, I go through the boat and I show you, from my point of view, the best I can of the boat and its features and foibles and stuff like this. So for example, this we saw in the double cabin, that lining at the end of the bed. Yes, it didn't come with a frying pan. Maybe I should have checked, and I'm sure if I'd phoned Richardson's up and said, I'm sorry, I'm going to be cooking tonight, I haven't got a frying pan, they would have sorted something out. But what I really want to draw your attention to is, having hired all sorts of different boats, from cheap budget boats in the past to sort of medium price boats, right up to the latest stuff. If you think that you're going to come with the bottom scale of the price range, for example, which this is, and you're going to have a grubby boat, or you're going to have to make do and mend a lot, it's really not the case. The customer service and the welcome at Richardson's is really good. They are very efficient. You go into reception, you pick up your skipper's manual, you go and get your buoyancy aids. The guy comes round and will talk you through all the boat and give you a trial run if necessary. And the whole process is very smooth and slick. Just as on hand back day, when they refuel you, you get your refund in cash and you're set to go. You don't pay for parking, etc. So yes, okay, you're going to have not a 240 volt socket in every cabin. You're going to have a smaller television. But really, for the money on this boat, and there are different boats that are exactly the same as this. San Remo, same price, different shape, different style boat. So you can go for the same money and look at different style boats if this isn't what you want, a forward steer kind of boat. And I've been one of the people to sort of poke fun at these boats. Oh, they're so low down, you know, be able to feed the ducks from the window at head height and so on and so forth. And maybe if you're going along and you're on the southern rivers with a lot of reeds, you might find it a little bit boring being down so low. But actually, when you're moored up, it's a really nice place to be, and I'm really pleased I had it. Sheila has loved it herself. It's the first time she's been on a boat like this. And it's what I want to say is good old Richardson's, basically. You know what you're getting, and you've got everything that you need for an enjoyable holiday. So there's nothing's gone wrong with the boat. The heating's been great, the batteries have been good. So yeah, I would say well worth it if you want a budget family holiday. Think about one of these forward steer boats, and if you can't afford some of the other stuff, then you're not going to have to make do and mend too much with something like this. So from here at Acle at the moorings for the Bridge Inn, that's been the boat review of Bronze Gem 2.